Hey, welcome everyone. Here we are back with some more power tips. So today we're talking about Power Apps and some of the new features that are available in this release wave. So we're going to talk about Power FX, some more collaboration features because we're always talking about collaboration, and editable grids. So I'm going to kick it off talking about Power FX. Lots of cool enhancements. And if you don't know, Power FX is the formula language that's used in Power Apps, and we're going to hear in a few other places as well. And there's a lot of new features coming in this release wave. First of all, we have intelligent formula repair. So if your formulas are always wrong, like they are with mine, now there's going to be AI to help you improve your formulas and find mistakes and fix those mistakes. That will be coming in public preview in June. And the general availability date is not released yet. And there's also some new features to improve development and performance. So this impacts how your PowerFX variables are initialized. And so you don't have to have as much control of that, which allows the platform to kind of optimize the storage and optimize the performance of your app. So some really cool features. That's also coming to public preview in June. But a few other features I'm excited about are the PowerFX for calculated columns. So now you can add in your calculated columns and use PowerFX to write those calculations instead of needing to use different, more classic calculations. And so that's available now in public preview, and the general availability should be coming anytime now. And this also allows you to use things like now and today within those calculations. So really cool.
Ooh, that's cool. I haven't seen this one yet. That's really exciting. That's a lot easier.
Right. And it's in public preview now. So I'm like, I should be trying this out and seeing how it's working because it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And my last feature I had to talk about was the command bar designer. So the command editor, really cool. This is how you can add new buttons and customize your ribbons for your model-driven apps. So previously we had to download the ribbon workbench and use that to make these changes, but this will be kind of Microsoft's replacement, kind of out of the box thing that we can be using for that. And you can use PowerFX for these buttons, or you can use JavaScript to customize that behavior. And the public preview for that is also in progress, and it'll be going general availability anytime now.
I was playing with that one not too long ago, actually, that we had a situation at one of our customers where we had to put a custom button on to trigger something. And so we explored this as an option, and it's super easy. It is just as easy as the tutorials and videos make it look, to add the button and put your own logo on there and whatever icon and stuff like that. But there are some gotchas, and I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but something along the lines of if a button that's on there had been previously edited in Ribbon Workbench, you couldn't customize it in here, and vice versa. There was some weird compatibility issues there, but I'm sure that's stuff that'll get ironed out as through the preview process. Especially given the Ribbon Workbench has been the go-to forever, right? So, but it is a really cool feature, really neat to add, simple drag drop kind of thing. So it's great.
Yeah, I haven't played with it myself, but I know Aiden Cascella did a presentation at our chapter on it, and it was so cool. So definitely need to try it out.
Sweet.
So
I see lots of emojis in my tests and environments in my future.
Yes. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about more collaboration, because we talk about collaboration in every one of our sessions so far, because it's just the thing that's being pushed across the board, which is great, because as we all know, the whole idea of working together and collaboratively is just key to everything that they're rolling out. So a couple new features that they're pushing into model-driven apps, and perhaps into Canvas, but the examples I found were all model. So on the left-hand side, we've got the co-presence, which is the ability to go into a model-driven app and into like an opportunity record and see if there's other people actually on that record, and you'll be able to ping them right from there, start a chat with them, which is amazing, right? So if you're making a change or looking at an opportunity and somebody else is, you can have some dialogue and collaborate about it, which is amazing. And then you can see in that secondary, the picture on the left-hand side that's kind of in front of the other one, you can actually see some of the information and drill into that user right from there, which is awesome. The middle one around sharing, we could always share a record. You can send an email and it opens up an email in your default email creator, and then you've got to copy that link or send the email. Now it's going to be much more like the I'm going to call it the SharePoint experience, where you can actually get a hold of the link right from there and just throw it into a Teams chat or send it in an email or give it to somebody, however you're collaborating with them. So not a huge change, but trying to make it a little more straightforward. You can still see the email link available, so you'll still be able to do that, but you can also just copy that link and throw it somewhere else, which is great. And then you can also manage the access.
But I'm super excited about that because I am so irritated every time I just need to grab the link, open up the email, copy the link, delete the email, and then paste it somewhere.
100% agree. Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, and then the manage access gives you the ability to control what they can do with that record if you're sharing it with somebody who doesn't have access. So there's some caveats there. They do already have to, they'll have to have a license. You can't share it with somebody outside of Dynamics, and all of a sudden they'll be able to see the record. Although there are some cool things around the ability to share records with people who will see a snapshot of it, so they can't edit or change it. It's basically like an image of the record that they can see, so they can derive details from that record and any of the fields in the plane of view, which is kind of cool. So, and then on the right, they're working to enhance your ability to get user details. So if you think of Teams and you click on somebody's image in Teams, you generally get a little card that opens up and it shows you like where they work and what their contact information and their presence and all of that. And so that's being layered in as well. So that's what you're seeing on the right. Those pictures all come right from the docs, so you can look all this information up in the docs, and these are all slated for GA at the very end of the Wave 1 window. So I believe it's September for all three of them, but they're all in preview or various stages of preview right now, I believe. And so you can go and play around with them a little bit and see what they're like. But these are great. Again, with the whole push around collaboration, just making it easier for people to collaborate and connect with each other so that you can be more efficient in your job. That's the goal, and they're certainly making strides in that department. That's all I've got.
That's cool stuff. So mine's a little update, but I think it's an exciting one, and it's the editable grid improvements in model-driven apps. So this kind of piggybacks off of an enhancement that was rolled out back in October, which is the Power Apps read-only grid on a table. And again, this is model-driven apps. So if you haven't explored that yet, it's really neat. It allows you to, as a user, to change the columns that you're looking at, to add columns, to filter things. And this is within a system view, so they don't have to make their own personal view, then make those changes. So this is coming to Editable Grid, which I think is really cool. So I just made this little grid here to talk about Editable Grids, to kind of show you what the difference is between today's Editable Grid experience and what the new feature is going to have. So today, when you apply Editable Grid, which you could do, it doesn't apply to subgrids. And the new one will allow you to apply an editable grid on a subgrid, which is nice because we always like our users to not have to leave one screen to update information. Viewing additional records is going to be infinite in the new feature. Right now, it's limited to whatever your browser is set to whatever your personal settings are in your model-driven app, which is a max of 250. Column size and column order. Today, it's predefined. You can't change that as a user, but like we said, it's going to be editable and updatable by all of your users, which is really neat. Now, all of that is just browser specific or session specific. So once you stop that session, it'll reset to your system view settings, but it's pretty neat that it hangs out there. And if we go to the next slide, just a little note that you can't do anything about this yet. It's just in the release notes. This is just an animated GIF of the current editable grid. It's listed as public preview for May. It's not there. I checked yesterday and it's not available. So it's coming soon. I can't wait to play with it. It's going to be really neat. And I have put a link here, which I'll add at the bottom of the video, which details information about that Power Apps grid read-only, because it's going to have the same features and it's going to really help your users. That's it on Editable Grid, but I feel like we'd be remiss if we don't mention that there was a really big update yesterday on Model-Driven Apps 2, and that's your Model-Driven Apps Designer. It's been in preview for a year, literally a year. It's no longer in preview. It's generally available. So when you go to make.powerapps.com and you create a new app, you're not going to get that pop-up that says classic or new. It's just going to take you into the new experience. So that's cool, exciting stuff too.
Perfect.
That's exciting. That editable grid is interesting because I'm trying to think of different form logic that I have to make sure people aren't writing to different fields and things like that. But now if they could add that column to an editable grid and make changes to it, that's interesting.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Something to think about for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of, when I talk about security and we talk about like security by obscurity is not security, right? And all these times that you remove a field from a form or you just set it read only so that people can't edit it. This is why not. Yeah. Because now they can add it to their editable grids and edit that field. So
yeah, that's true.
And things we need to think about.
I wish there's a little more detail in the release notes about this. It's really not detailed. It links you mostly to this Power Apps grid that came out last release. But I'm curious, because right now there are some pretty significant limitations when you apply editable grid to a table. And I'm curious if those limitations are still in place. So yeah, your read-only fields will become editable to an extent. And then, the fix is you have to put JavaScript on your form to lock it down and make sure users can't do it. You can't edit any concatenated fields. So that is a whole group of fields that you wouldn't be able to use, calculated fields, roll-ups, all that good stuff. So, be interesting.
Call out.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this quick session. We hope that you find these features interesting and tune in next time for whatever we decide to talk about, and let us know down in the comments if there are other release notes you want us to talk about or specific features we should dive into. Thanks.